one day somebody does something unspeakable to someone else, to someone you hardly knew, and you do something about it, because you can.
This story comes to us from The Record in Bergen County. Victoria Lee should be alive today. Let me repeat that. Victoria Lee should be alive today, says Amber Reed, the co-executive director of AAPI New Jersey, at a press conference this Tuesday afternoon. On Tuesday, Reed stood alongside legal representative Sukjin Cho, as well as members of several other Korean civic and community associations, for a press conference to discuss the death of Victoria Lee, who was 25, who was fatally shot by a member of the Fort Lee Police Department on July 28th of this year. Each speaker at the press conference expressed the same call to action, requesting that the State Attorney General's office conduct a thorough investigation into the incident and that they release the body camera footage as soon as possible. They haven't yet. They demanded justice for Lee and called for systematic improvements to prevent similar tragedies from occurring in the future. Quote, "The family is deeply concerned about the police's unnecessary use of lethal force, in this case a weapon that is a gun, the lack of consultation with the family, and absence of emergency medical personnel," said Cho, who is representing the Lee family. He goes on, "The Lee family urges the New Jersey Office of Attorney General to thoroughly investigate the incident, including the body camera footage and all of the other available evidence in this case." Now, according to statements from the Office of Attorney General, members of the Fort Lee Police Department responded to calls about a mental health crisis at the Pinnacle apartment complex in Fort Lee during the early morning hours of Sunday, July 28. The Attorney General's statements also said that the caller reported that his sister was holding a knife. When officers arrived, they spoke to the caller, Lee's brother, outside of the apartment. After Lee and another female did not comply with the officer's request to open the door, they breached the door of the apartment, or in other words, kicked it in, according to the Attorney General's statements. Now, Lee approached the officers in the hallway. Then Officer Tony Pickens fired a single fatal shot into her chest. Per the Attorney General's most recent statement, this August 5th, the incident is still under investigation. Now, the Lee family produced its own statement, which was submitted to the NorthJersey.com by Cho on August 7th, detailing the events of that night as they remember it. The family maintains that Lee, who was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in 2017, was never a threat to people around her at the time of the shooting, and that the knife was no longer in her hand when she was shot, but instead she was clutching a 5-gallon Poland Spring plastic water jug. It's a big water jug you put on the thing. The statement says that the unnecessarily aggressive approach taken by police led to Lee's death. Now, additionally, according to Cho, the family did not see any ambulance or paramedics in the apartment even after the shooting took place. It's what left her there. Per the family statement, the police picked Lee up and carried her out of the apartment. According to Cho, they do not have much information about what happened after that, as Lee's mother and brother were taken to a different area and then to the police station for questioning before going to the hospital, where they were told that Lee had succumbed to her injuries. She had passed. And no body camera footage has been released yet to the family or to the public. Since the shooting, multiple Korean civic and community organizations have stood with the Lee family, such as AAPI New Jersey, which released a statement on Thursday calling for an investigation into the incident and for state and local law enforcement agencies and first responders to work with mental health professionals to support people dealing with mental health emergencies. That's according to Reed, who was at Tuesday's press conference. She goes on, while we mourn the killing of Victoria Lee at the hands of police, we want to make sure this never happens again to anyone's family or to anyone's community. She continued, anyone experiencing a mental health crisis should be able to access help safely. We need a comprehensive strategy involving community-wide responses across New Jersey. We need assurance from the New Jersey Office of the Attorney General that the right protocols and practices are in place and that all police departments are held accountable for them. And this story goes on. It's a pretty lengthy story. But, you know, the thing here is, I was going to say, I know what I was going to say, the mental health thing. They're saying that, you know, we want police and first responders to work, you know, with mental health professionals on these calls. That's not going to help. Because even if the mental health professionals ride with the police officers in these calls, a lot of times the mental health professionals sit in the car while the cop goes in to, you know, make sure it's safe, and that's when things happen. So wow, a mental health professional was there. Where were they? In the car waiting. Yeah, we've had that before. We've actually had that happen before. Where cops go and they assault these mental health people who don't understand what's going on as the mental health professional sits in the car. So that's not going to work either. I want to know what you think.